while I've done it, I'm the OG Naagin, so all that is there. But you also want to move ahead and do different stuff, and that's why I'm also trying and discovering and rediscovering myself. Now I've set the standard, and people are following it, so I'm okay to go back to it. For me, it was the first time. Of course, as an actor, I've had to dub for my scenes and all, but when I'm dubbing, I'm also having a visual cue. I'm looking at something and I'm dubbing, but here there was nothing. It was I had to be Ghazala, and I had to, when people are listening to this, they have to feel for Ghazala or feel for the entire narrative without looking at something. So it is that much more important for your voice to do the work. Body shaming, of course, is something that we've very recently become aware of, because, eventually, I think it was a part of our conditioning. We wouldn't even realize were body shaming. So many times we would land up name calling people because of a certain body type they had, but initially we didn't know that it could affect somebody so much psychologically, but now we are aware.
Welcome to News 18 Showsha. I am Srijita Sen, and today I have with me the very popular Sayantani Ghosh, who is doing her Audible series Shraapit. So today we'll talk to Shantani about the Audible series and a lot more things. So let's welcome Shantani Ghosh. Hi Shantani, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on board.
Hi. I grew up watching your show Naagin when I was in school, and I loved watching that show because back then when we were kids, it was a huge deal for us to see a Bengali actress doing the lead in a popular Hindi show. So we just loved that. I loved you in that show, and it feels so
Thank
great
you.
to talk to you today.
Thank you, Srijita. Thank you so much.
So, first, I'd like to begin with the show. Tell us and our viewers about the audiobook and the story and the character. They will hear you.
So it's an Audible original. The show is titled Shraapit, and I'm playing this character called Ghazala. To begin with, about the medium, I think it's a very exciting medium to be part of, because mostly we're used to the visual medium. But the audio medium also, it's such a beautiful. As an actor, of course, I've done a lot of dubbing for my scenes and all. But when I was approached to be a part of an audio book, I was like, okay, this is going to be something new and something challenging and something exciting. And what honestly excited me is, like, I think, especially in an Indian, in our Indian upbringing, we are all used to a lot of storytelling that we've heard from our grandparents, mostly like my growing up period, my dada or my dad used to narrate a story to me, mostly fantasy based stories and all, and they would put us off to sleep and stuff like that. So I think it's most of the Indians would relate to this kind of a journey, because an audio narration has that power to kind of transform you to an imaginative world. Yes, while we are narrating, we're kind of cluing, kind of tuning you into the narrative, but also we as a listener have the power to get into our own imaginative world and imagine them, because there is no visual. The visual is left for us to imagine. So I think that experience is beautiful, and I am aware of that experience, as like I said, in my childhood I would listen to a lot of stories, but now when I had to experience it and when I had to kind of be a part of something as an artist, something like this, it was so great. Because while it was technical, because when you have to re-enter your voice, you have to be closer to the mic, and at times you have to be distanced from the mic, because if you're shouting, then you can't be blowing a lot of air into the mic. So there were all of these technical nuances that I also got to learn or brush my skills in that zone. But it is also so creative, because there's no visual. So when I'm doing a scene in a visual medium, even if, say, I'm not doing a great job with the expression, but my voice kind of counterbalances it, or vice versa. But here you don't have a visual, so you cannot go wrong with your voice modulation or with the emotion. So it is just not like standing in front of the mic and telling a dialogue. You literally have to feel it. It's an emotional journey. So this whole process was amazing for me. It was the first time experience venturing into this world of audio narration, and I think Audible has done a fantastic job with Shraapit. The cast is great, the story is great, my character Ghazala is great, so I'm really excited, and I want people to come and experience this.
So, can you give us, without giving any spoilers, of course, a little bit insight into your character?
So Shraapit, as the name suggests, it's about a curse. So there is this one family called the Shah family, and we see, like, for many, many years, every generation keeps getting killed. Something keeps happening until the existing generation, they go back to their ancestral property where their grandmother starts narrating them this story. and how the curse came upon this family. And the curse was given by Ghazala because, again, many, many years back, she was in love with one of the, one of the heads of the Shah family, and how she was burnt alive, and because of which she'd cursed this. So Ghazala is a very, obviously a very pivotal character. But I have sung for this show, so she's a person who used to sing. She was a part of, it's her character is based in a period, zone where she was a part of this court, and she used to sing in the Shah court, and she was in love with this person, and so there's a lot of emotion there because the romantic side, when she's in love with this person, she would sing. So there was that fun part of singing and giggling, and different things to enhance that mood, the ghungru ki awaaz and stuff like that. Then comes the painful part when she's being burnt alive, and then the revenge part, when she's trying to seek revenge for the whatever wrong was done to her. So many different shades I got to portray as Ghazala. It wasn't easy, because when you're doing something visually, I could go back to the monitor and see how have I performed, but here it's only sound. So you all that you can do is staying true to that emotion, and that's what I tried to do. Of course, Audible is great; they're so technologically advanced, so the sound effects and everything. Once you hear it, you'll understand it's so beautifully done. But the whole experience is so immersive, when you're listening to a podcast or an audio book. And I was super excited to be a part of Shraapit and to be Ghazala.
And what would you say was the biggest challenge while bringing this character to life?
Like I said, see, for me, it was the first time. Of course, as an actor, I've had to dub for my scenes and all. But when I'm dubbing, I'm also having a visual cue. I'm looking at something and I'm dubbing. But here, there was nothing. It was, I had to be Ghazala, and I had to, when people are listening to this, they have to feel for Ghazala or feel for the entire narrative without looking at something. So it is that much more important for your voice to do the work. So, like I said, while there were technical aspects, so when I'm burning, so I'm shouting and I'm kind of breathing in pain, so then, like I said, I had to step away from the mic. I was told to step away, otherwise there'll be a lot of air blow into the mic. So while the technical aspects were there, but most challenging is to get the emotion out because you don't have co-actors, nothing. You're just standing in front of the mic and emoting it. So you have to feel, you yourself have to get into that imaginative world, and then do that job that much more well, so that when the listeners come, they're also immersed into this imaginative world. So I think that is very difficult and challenging. That's what, and exciting at the same time.
You have been, as I mentioned earlier during the start of the interview, you have been a part of this industry for a long time. You have seen a lot of things from success to low points to high points, and you have always been very vocal about that. Even in one of your interviews, you opened up about casting couch and body shaming. So, how much would you say that thing has changed in our industry right now?
I always say this: let's not pinpoint this industry. I think it's a problem that exists in the society at large. Obviously our industry is about the entertainment industry, and people are more interested in knowing what's happening to an actor's life. So we get these things get spoken about more. But I think at large this is an issue which exists in our society. When you talk about something like casting couch, it's more about abuse of power, and it could be any person doing it in any position of power across any industry. So see, the abuse of power, I feel it definitely exists even now, but obviously it's way better than it used to be because there've been so many. The Me Too movements have been there, and people know, things won't go unnoticed more often than not. Somebody who's made to go through such an unfortunate incident will speak about it. Women are not scared anymore to speak about it. People are women, not men, even for that matter. Even men have to go through this. People are not scared. Initially, a lot of taboo was associated with such things, and people would feel shame for themselves. Like a lot of times, you get into the mindset there must be something wrong with me, that I am attracting such stuff. So that mindset is breaking. We are becoming more and more aware about mental health. So definitely, we are moving towards a better society. While it does exist, but it's still way better than before. Body shaming, of course, is something that we've very recently become aware of because eventually I think it was a part of our conditioning. We wouldn't even realize we would go body shaming. So many times we would land up name calling people because of a certain body type they had, but initially we didn't know that it could affect somebody so much psychologically. But now we are aware. So again, like I said, the awareness is coming, which is a good thing in our society.
And now that you are such an established name in the industry, do you feel that director and producers or casting directors' attitude towards you have changed?
See, I can only speak for my journey in the television industry, and that has been a great journey. Honestly, in TV, I've never had to face any such thing. People have been very respectful. And I started very early, and I started, and my first second show was a huge success. So for me, I've really not I've always got a lot of respect in the way people have dealt with me. Whatever that one incident you're talking about, it's not in the TV industry. It was a film producer that I had met. So as far as television industry goes, I have had a very smooth and a very respectful journey where people have really loved and respected me. So yeah,
You are, as everyone knows, the original Naagin actress, and
yeah.
now this has become such a popular and huge franchisee. Do you ever feel like going back to it, or were you ever offered to go back to it?
I did go back to it. I was a part of the new franchisee back in 2000, just before COVID happened. So that is there. But see, while I've done it, I'm the OG Naagin, so all that is there. But you also want to move ahead and do different stuff. And that's why I'm also trying and discovering and rediscovering myself. Now I've set the standard and people are following it. So I'm okay to go back to it. But I mean, most importantly, I want to move ahead. And hence I'm venturing out and doing different things like Shraapit, and like, with Audible, I'm associating I'm so stuff like that. So you want to move ahead and do and try different stuff and not just get stuck with something. So yeah, hence this new venture with the audio format.
Like you said, you want to move ahead. So, what are the kind of roles you look forward to play?
See, there is no one particular role that I'm looking forward to. There's one thing that I'm always wanting is like whatever I'm doing next has to be different than what I've done initially in some way or the other. It could be different in the look. Maybe I'm playing a character which is very different looking than what I've done. It could be different in the emotion. It could be different as a genre. Like in this case, now I'm venturing into the world of audio. So it's very different in format. So that's the only thing I'm always looking out, that whatever, within the offers that I get, which is the one offer that's challenging me more and that's something different from what I've already done. And that's exactly what I've applied here when I got approached for Shraapit. That was one thing. On the very word go got me excited because this is again a medium I haven't ventured into. So yeah, so that's what I am always looking forward to. Different things which keep new, different and new things that challenge me.
And would you also like to do Bengali films and series because that's where you started off from?
Yes, why not? And it's not that I don't get, people keep discussing, I was in Kolkata back right after the lockdown had opened, and we were back to normalcy, and I was in talks for a couple of things. It's just that time management becomes an issue. If that's something we can work out, I would love to do, because, I keep on seeing and I'm aware of such amazing content that keeps happening in Bangla. And it is, I am a Bengali girl and I would love to do some good Bengali content as well.
So that brings me to my last question, and again, like to go back to Shraapit. So while, as you said, this was a new thing for you. So
Yeah.
what would you say was your biggest takeaway or learning from this entire experience?
See, of course, like I said, technically, I could really brush upon a lot of my skills. I think today, when I have to dub for a visual medium, I'm a technically enhanced artist. So that has been a great takeaway. And I also, but emotional level, I feel, going back to our roots is something which always work. There could be a lot of things that keep coming and keep going, but something that is deeply rooted in our childhood or in our culture always work. And that's where I think, will lie the success of an audio medium. Like I said, because I think most of the Indians have, we've grown up listening to different storytelling and stuff. So that helps. Also, the other thing, I think audio gives you that provision to create your own little world, because what happens with the visual medium is when you have a TV on, even if you are directly sitting, not directly sitting and watching it, but even if you're a part of the household, you know that there's something on and you might not like to watch that particular thing. But say if somebody's watching it, it's there, it's been played in the household. But audio gives you that scope that you can multitask. You could be in your kitchen working, could be working out, you could be just lying down at the end of the day, and just you have to plug in and you get into your own little imaginative, immersive world. So I think that is a great takeaway for me, because right now what it has all after doing is, like my particular the show that I'm doing apart from Shraapit is, where my set is like almost 2 hours from my home. So the drive, what do you do when you're driving for 2 hours? I plug my earphones in and I listen to something. Sometimes it could be music, sometimes it could be an audiobook, sometimes it could be a podcast. So I think this, especially in today's time and age, when people are tired. Your eyes also need a break because we're so glued onto our mobile phones or our tabs and stuff like that. So I think this gives us the scope to unwind, relax, listen to our personal content, and like I said, develop this little world, intimate world for yourself. And I would really want people to come and listen to such more audiobooks. Shraapit, of course, is I would want people to come first and listen to Shraapit. And I'm sure Audible is going to come up with some more great content because they are any which ways like the leader in this field. So I think people should come and experience this journey as well.
And that brings us to the end of this interview. It was great talking to you, Shantani, and
Thank
I
you so
can't
much.
wait to hear this audiobook because I'm a huge
Please.
horror fan.
Oh, please do. And let us
I
know
love,
how you like it,
yeah,
for
obviously,
sure.
I'll reach out to you on Instagram, and I love listening to horror audiobooks, so I know I love it. I already
Okay,
know that.
thank you. Fingers crossed.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for this
Thank,
wonderful conversation, Shantani, and all the
thank
best for
you.
your upcoming projects, and have a nice
Thank you
day.
so much. Thank you.